Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today we are going to be enjoying conversation with someone who has recently been recognized for his sensitive as well as thoughtful portrayal of a group of committed girls of India and what they have done. In one line, if I ask this question, which is relevant for anyone anywhere, and that is to cry or not to cry. And while we celebrate festivals like Dashera, and we remember how Lord Ram killed Ravana, and Ravana, in one way, is that in us which prevents us from expressing our full potential. With that little part, I take this opportunity of congratulating as well as welcoming someone who is recipient of 68th National Film Award for his film Wheeling the Ball. Namaste, welcome, congratulations, Mukesh ji.
Thank you. Namaskar.
So let us go and recollect this moment with our viewers, where
Wheeling the Ball के निर्देशक श्री मुकेश शर्मा. This one is for the best exploration film, Wheeling the Ball, which demonstrates that passion and determination are great fuels for scaling new heights against all adversaries. These wheelchair-bound women that this film showcases know how to fly. Very, very heart-touching, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause, please.
so round of applause, Mukesh ji, and being in the presence of Information Broadcasting Minister as well as President of India, recollect how was the feeling? Was it surreal? What was going on in your mind?
Well, I was a bit nervous, and at the same time, I was excited because first time in my life I climbed a stage where you had the Honorable President of India, and then you had all the best filmmakers and from the film fraternities and the audience, and you had a live program. So there was no doubt excitement, there was nervousness, but there was also this element of confidence that today I will really walk on the stage with a very confidence because this is the first time in my life after a long, long wait. So that was the feeling.
When you say long, long wait, that tells me that you have made other documentaries also, which you felt deserved more attention than what they gathered. Let's quickly recap some of the documentaries that are dear to you. And one is Satyu, a Bhopali activist. That was in 2011. Uh, Recap, what was it?
Yeah, that was my first documentary, and it was about an activist who had come to Bhopal when the gas tragedy happened that very night, and looking at the misery of the people and their pain, this engineer scientist basically decided to stay back and dedicate his entire life for the cause and for the welfare of the people. And that is what really turned me. In this whole materialistic society, you have a person uh, who really can dedicate their life for a cause of people, not necessarily for any benefit or any fame. And that is what really touched me, basically, that we need such kind of peoples in the society. And that
Definitely.
was my first film.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was my first film, and it got screened in a couple of festivals. So that is where the whole excitement of filmmaking and came in, actually.
Why documentary? Why not feature film?
That's a nice question because I'm a third generation documentary filmmaker, which actually comes to me very naturally. My grandfather was a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, and my father was also a documentary filmmaker, and now I'm also over here. So I think it's there in my blood or something that comes very naturally. And I don't have an answer to it why it comes naturally, that it just comes, that's all.
So now you are a photographer, you are a writer, you are a director also. Is it helpful if all three aspects of filmmaking are taken care of by one mind, or it's better to have a team that is focusing on different aspects?
Yeah, see, since if you have the technical skills and then you have the creative mind, if the two works, is nothing like it. And then ultimately, when you're shooting, you're working with a team. So you have sometimes you have two cameras, and then you have to instruct the person who's with you, explain him to your ideas and the mood. So basically, sometimes you have visuals in your mind. In documentary, it is not planned. Sometimes you get a visual just instantly. So you have that eye, you capture that, which another cameraman may not, have that pulse which you have in. He may be a good cameraman. I'm not saying that, but that pulse, that creative pulse, may not be in his mind. So that is where the difference comes in.
I'll also have our viewers learn about other documentaries, but let's go uh, to the one which has brought you for this conversation, as well as that took you to Vigyan Bhavan, and it is indeed very important to be one of those chosen few who received 68th Film Award, National Film Award. So, Mukeshji, here is the trailer of the film, and then we'll talk in depth about Wheeling the Ball.
Life for a wheelchair user is definitely full of challenges.
एक साल पहले बास्केटबॉल स्टार्ट किया था। मुझे इतना अच्छा लगा कि मुझे कभी लगा नहीं था मैं डिसेबल होने के बावजूद मैं बास्केटबॉल कभी खेल पाऊँगी।
So, Mukeshji, this small clip which we shared, it has many elements put together that includes music. Uh, Talk to me about the importance of music for a documentary filmmaker. For example, what I gather in the small first few seconds, with the help of music, you were conveying a sense of speed also. And I think I lost him partly, but that is a part of the way technology works when you're talking to someone sitting in Mumbai who has returned from Delhi, and now here he is talking to me here. So, Mukeshji, about importance of music for a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah, see, it all depends upon your theme basically. And see, basically, my in my film, music was not very integral. It was just like a background support. But then it was only for certain visuals we use music. So as far as possible, we're using raw sound, the actual ambient sound of the location. So that was the basic sound design of the film, especially of the players, the ball, and the sound of the wheelchair and the players shouting. So that was the basic soundtrack. But these were small, visuals which I got instinctively about this. In the stadium, and this girl was moving. So I requested her, "Why don't you come over here? I can see the sun, falling on your shadow. Can you do some movements?" And then she was very excited. She said, "Okay, I will go up and do these kinds of movements." And then we captured it and the shadow. We like the shadow effect, and then that's how the music came in. So in my film, presently, this kind of film, music is very secondary over here, but it is the visual, the live, the real, the raw visuals and the raw sound was the basic integral part of this film, I think.
Mukherjee, if I think like you, I feel there is a meditative quality in the way this shot was composed, where you have the interplay of light and shade, and the way you made this girl uh, sort of have movements on her wheelchair. There was certain element of dance also. So it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
this movement was suggested by her, but I just asked her if she could move a bit. But then she was very excited, and then she could really lift herself and rotate it and all that. So I was a bit frightened that she wouldn't fall and all that. She said, "Sir, don't worry, I will not fall because I'm used to this." So luckily, she performed for me, and I was also very frightened that she should not fall at the time of it. But that was her confidence, that this thing, and so we got that moving of the wheelchair, the wheels on the surface and the shadow. So that really got me into the feeling that this wheelchair has become an integral part of their body, and then how that it's an
Life for a
indirect
wheelchair
affection in which they are
user
living with.
is definitely full of challenges.
What did you say? Indirect?
It's an indirect affection in which they are living with it. It's there with them.
Now, let's look at the situation of family members, and you also have interviewed some parents who are also featured in wheeling the ball. What was the one common thought, feeling, emotion which you felt was running in most of the parents whose uh, girls were part of this?
Yeah, they were contrasting. It was not uniform. Like some, like the parents which I interviewed in Chennai, she said that the they came from a very humble background, and they said we could give everything to our daughter to be a good sports person, and we even kept away our ornaments, golden ornaments, so we could get a loan and pay for her sporting performance, even if she went out of India or out of Chennai, wherever she wants to go. So they said that maybe God has given us this child, and we will give everything for her, that that she will become a good sports person. And on the other hand, I also met a girl in Bombay who's interesting, as a very contrasting interview. She said, "No one in my family liked me. They just said, you sit here and that's it, and you don't go out." And she rebelled and she said, "I'll go out, I'll play and prove myself." She said, "I applied for jobs in many places, but I was just rejected just because I was a disabled person." So, is it that what the society is? So then these are the contrasting views, and then in the end, the girl says, "Yes, today I have won, and today I'll go back home and I'll tell my parents and my relatives, yes, I have won today. I hope now you will accept me."
So these interactions bring sort of drop of tear in our eyes sometimes, but then we most of the time associate tears with weakness. But I believe tears also are a sign of being sensitive, or they open up space for you to move forward. Did you come across any moment of that sort while you were interacting with family members, or any girl who, while narrating her ordeal or her journey, was also tearful?
Oh, yeah, in fact, many of their stories were tearful, but the I interviewed one of the aunts of the auntie of Kaltaki Patel, who had actually lost her parents, so she was all alone. It was her aunt who took care of her, and then while she was narrating her story about her the changes that came in her life, and how her husband accepted her, and and the whole society kept asking her, questioning her, is the husband a physically challenged person, or he is also a normal person? So she's saying the society is not still willing to accept that a physically challenged person can live with a normal person. So she was struggling with convincing the society, she said, and that's how the whole she became very emotive. And the same emotion I also felt when I met one of the players in Chennai, the mother. She narrated her own story in Tamil, basically. And when she was narrating her story, that this is the best I'll give for my daughter, whatever my economic conditions are, but we make sure that we will fulfill her desire as a sports person. And then when they narrated, it was very, very emotive, and it was a very sensitive situation for shooting, actually.
So, Mukesh, storytelling is an art, and even if it is a story of your own life, some people are good at it, some people are not that good at it, and so in certain cases, you need to be more imaginative than in other cases. So, talk to me about your impression in terms of people's ability to to share what they have been through, and then again I'll connect it in the scheme of your documentary. There are certain limitations. You cannot have everyone as a part of the documentary, so it must have been quite a challenging task to pick and sort of have weave in that sequence which brings about what you wanted to show.
Yeah, see, this whole, like in documentary especially, the creative part comes in the post-production, that is the editing of the film. And normally we say this as the post-scripting stage in documentary. So this is when it was a tough job because we had shot a lot. Actually, we had shot various locations, various matches, players, and we had shot in Chennai, Erode. We shot in Mumbai. We shot in Bhubaneswar. So so myself and the editor, we had a tough job basically. For how to
How many,
start and how to
how
finish.
many hours of footage?
I had something like say something 8 to 9 hours of footage. So which is for a 40 minutes documentary was too high basically. But still, because there was a lot of stories, lot of interviews, so you have to just fine tune and take out the best of lines. So you have to listen to them very very carefully, and some of them were in Tamil, so I had to call a Tamil friend who is in my office, and he would tell me that these are the lines you should take, and this is what she's trying to say. Of course, the facial expressions itself was telling many things. So the editing was the most difficult part, and I wouldn't say it's a difficult. It was the most challenging part for us because I had a good editor, and we had a good team. So I took some good suggestions from him basically. So it was a good teamwork between the two of us. You know. So the starting of the film was in my mind. So this whole shot of the camera fixed on the top of the basketball this frame. So that really comes in, and that's what I really liked about that shot. So I told him this is that we will start this film with this shot, and he agreed. And then I told him that the film will close down with the entire tournament because that is the climax. It is like we don't know. It is the 5 minutes or 4 minutes of the match is actually the performance of the players. When you see them as players, and you don't see them as a particular kind of people. You see them as sportsmen. Because for 5 minutes you are involved in their performance, in the tension as who will win and who will lose. So that is really was my decision to take it. And then structuring the film was also was a very good contribution that came in from my editor. So it was a nice teamwork.
Talking about the team work and the sports, the end result and the response of people is important. But how was the response of those who were featured in your documentary? Did you get a chance to get feedback from those who were part of it?
Uh, see, what happened by then when I edited the film, the COVID had come in, so I did not have the ability to physically interact with the people and all that. To screen the film for them because the theaters were closed down and we couldn't have any interaction or something. So for me, there was an online festival in Germany at Heidelberg University. So they had screened the film there, and then I invited all these players and the people associated with the film to join me in the screening, and they were really excited because this is the first time they were also seeing the film. And they kept calling me, sir, film kabhi dikhao, when are you going to show us the film? I said, the film is done, but unfortunately there is COVID, so I cannot call you in my office. And so you'll have to wait. And but then this opportunity came from Germany where we screened this film online, and they all joined in. And some of the people from the other side question asked them, well, how was their experience? And they were really excited that it was a very cool atmosphere to work with me. And so it was a nice team both ways working with them. And then when we screened it in the Mumbai International Film Festival, many of the players actually came there, and they, yes, that is where they said that sir, बहुत अच्छी film बनी, and that was their line, sir. So that way, and the coaches came in, the coach who was the leading them. So he did not have a clue that what kind of a documentary I was making. He was always understand that this could be a very
So now again, we have
film. Yeah, it was more an emotional linked film basically.
So that is also very gratifying. Those who are featured, if they like the film, you feel good, because many times, whether it's a feature film or documentary, those who are being portrayed, if they feel disappointed, then it breaks your heart somehow, because you put. And in your case, in addition to being the recipient of 68th film National Film Award, I think the response of these people is also equally, if not more important. Um, we have something to say, and you made a film on K. Abbas. That was the previous film in 2017, uh, in which the title itself is "I Have Something to Say." Talk to me a little bit about why documentary on K. Abbas. What was it about him that appealed to you?
Well, see, that really came to me when I was doing a film appreciation course in 2012, and there was a lot of relation to Bombay cinema and to a lot of the people of cinema related to independent stage of India, film journalists, and the name of K. Abbas always pops up, you know. So he's one of the most celebrated filmmakers of that time, who made films like I mean, he scripted films like Dr. Kotnas Ki Amar Kahani and Avara and Dharti Ke Lal. So he was one of those pioneers, and he was also one of the most the creative team, part of the creative team of Raj Kapoor. So who gave films like Avara and Shri 420 and Bobby. So Mera Naam Joker. So he was one of the creative minds of team of Raj Kapoor, the greatest showman of the Indian cinema.
So allow me to ask you a question. So these are two different type of documentaries. One we just talked about, wheeling the ball, where you have a group of people. Here it is more focused on one creative individual. So as a documentary filmmaker, which is more challenging?
Um, Challenging is, I wouldn't say the word challenging. I mean, it's more about, once you get into a subject, you really fall in love with it. So it's not like which is challenging or not. I mean, the challenge is basically doing a good job. So that is where it is. So and fortunately for me, I would these both the subjects are equally lovable for me basically, because K. Abbas is a very important person of Indian cinema. So I got an opportunity to make a film on that, which I would have not got it.
So what did you
And
learn while making this documentary more about K. Abbas, which many people probably do not know?
yeah, because see, he, uh, he is one of the most important person that he was a journalist who wrote this famous article in Blitz, and he has a record. He was a very good record because it is one of the longest articles he wrote for Blitz, and he was a script writer, and he was a script writer who gave a very good importance in the presence of a script writer in Indian cinema, which were normally ignored. So he was one of those key person, and then he made films. Those they were not very commercially successful, but when you see them back today, that he was made realistic cinema like Dharti Ke Lal, which was then a very important film. He made films like Pardesi with Devanand, which many people don't know. Now, when you come back to India, say after 75 years, and you look back at the kind of films they were made, Bombay Raat Ki Baao mein, all these films, when you see and you say, oh my God, the kind of cinema which was there, and we had not seen it. And who's this person? We need to explore. And above all, he was the man who gave a break to Amitabh Bachchan in Saath Hindustani.
So
So all
now,
these people.
sorry to interrupt. Just few minutes of I want to catch up on the other two important films, and especially the one which you made in 2012, and that was titled Nepathya. It was behind the scenes 100 years of Indian cinema, and I think there is so much that you can talk about that. And who were the people that you interviewed, and whatever you feel would stay with you, in because you met some luminaries of Indian film,
I mean,
Indian world.
this topic was given to us by the office. Basically, they said that since India will be celebrating 100 years of cinema, so we need to this was the theme line. So they asked, what aspect of the of 100 years of cinema can you do? So then I said, since I have, always, since I've come from a technical background, so I had my sympathy and my soft corner for the technicians who were behind the scene, and so that's why that whole idea clicked for me. And then I traveled to various people in Mumbai. I met art directors, I met editors, I met cinematographers, I met makeup artists. I went to Chennai and I met fight masters over there, stunt masters. And then I went to Calcutta and I met some of the music directors, though they are not well known, but still they were doing their job and expressing their stories. So these were the people, and the whole thing was about how technology changed from celluloid to digital. And I met sound recordists, many of them who had not come from a trained background, but they learned it on the job. So it was there. It was a collage of stories, basically.
So you aptly gave it the title Nepathya, behind the scenes, and so these are people who are working behind the scene. What is happening in front of the scene in terms of the way the news breaking the news is the norm through several television channels. You are not a part of the film industry in that sense of the term. You are more with film reason. You have been a documentary filmmaker, but there is this trend of boycotting the film, and you may have some thoughts that you may want to reserve or you may want to share. So in just 2 minutes, taking creative liberty and being sensitive, both can coexist.
Yeah, it can. I mean, being creative and sensitive. Only if you're sensitive, then only you can be creative. I mean, that's this is interlinked. I mean, see, if you're sensitive to say, if you're standing somewhere and you see an action, and from that action you start a story. So that is your sensitivity is your starting point, and creative is your second thing. So they coexist for me. I mean, they are not separate. I mean, they exist as two integral wholes. I mean, as integral parts.
I think many filmmakers probably need to appreciate what you are saying, because people are visibly, vocally upset sometimes because creative liberty uh, was taken at the cost of hurting their sensibility. But leaving that just as a reference point, um, concluding our conversation and reminding our viewers that here is a gentleman who passionately works on documentary filmmaking, and in 68th National Film Award, here is Mukesh Sharma receiving the Director Award from Honorable President of India. And you have also been a student of social anthropology. I think that must have
Yes.
helped you in being the creative director of documentaries, the kind of offerings that you have made. In 30 seconds, if you are to say something about the importance of documentary filmmaking, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. They are the best part because first and foremost, the origin of cinema lies somewhere in documentaries, and but it is ignored. But if people see documentaries very sincerely, that they will realize the truth of society, which is a bit camouflaged in feature films. Feature films have their own identity. I'm not in competition with anything, but documentaries really bring out realities in front of the camera as it is, and the feelings are really once one sees it sincerely, the feelings are very universal, whether the story comes from any part of the continent. Uh, and when you see it, it's a human story. It touches your heart, and that is the beauty of the
So,
films
so
of
once again,
documentaries.
Mukesh Sharma ji, thank you very much for joining us from Mumbai, and once again, congratulations on this National Film Award for your film "Wheeling the Ball." And what I would say is, through you, we freshly learned that documentary brings that slice of life, which is very, very important for us to take a note of. May you continue to have such creative, significant, important projects and enrich us through your offerings. So, thank you very much. Lots of good wishes. Namaste.